I just finished my first Stephen King book and I liked it, but I don't think it fully hit for me. Misery by Stephen King, I'm rating it 3.5 out of 5, maybe 3.75 out of 5. Let's get into it. Misery follows a best-selling writer who gets into a car crash and then is rescued by his number one fan, who then holds him hostage and forces him to rewrite the ending of a story he tried to end. So what works? The characters are really solid. Both Paul and Annie feel believable and their dynamic is genuinely intriguing. As a writer, I related to Paul in certain ways, and Annie is extremely unsettling, but without ever feeling cartoonish. The plot is also simple, but it is done well. It is incredibly tight. It is basically these two characters, Annie and Paul, in this one tight little house. It builds around this kind of tension and pressure and power dynamic and codependence between these two. You feel like you're there the entire time. You understand this kind of claustrophobic feeling, and it feels really alive. It's more unsettling than anything, but it doesn't rely on any huge twist, so to say. There are some things that are kind of unsettling, but you kind of see them coming. It's much more about the internality of Paul and kind of the dynamic and subtle shifts in this dynamic between Paul and Annie. And the structure in this book is strong. It feels intentional, it feels tight, and it feels built around trying to build that tension through dialogue and subtle power shifts. The prose is nothing special. It works, it is functional, it is readable, and it does exactly what it needs to do to keep you engaged and build that tension. The strongest part, and by far the most compelling part about this book for me, was the theme of authorship, as it kind of makes a commentary on reading and being an author and the relationship of an author with a reader, on fandoms, on the pressure of being an appraised author. This entire book is basically the physical manifestation of that dynamic, of an author feeling trapped by his audience and being compelled and shaped by his audience, and in turn the author kind of making changes that the audience relates to and is shaped by as well. By far, I thought that was the most interesting layer of the book. Now, what doesn't work? I'm not really a thriller reader, but that being said, nothing that happens in the book really fell out of what I expected it to be. I kind of all saw these kind of shifts coming, and nothing was really crazy or a standout in that way. The story within a story part of this book didn't work for me. I get why it's there, I get what it's doing thematically, but those kind of excerpts and those pages, they weren't exactly compelling, and the writing did feel weaker than the rest of the book. As far as the characters, I didn't need everything spelled out for me, but I do wish we got to see a little bit more into Paul's internality. For example, at the start, he is very vocal about how he hates writing this kind of misery series, and he calls it slop, and he actively disdains the readers that he has, the fandom. But that eventually kind of starts to shift. I won't get into too much spoilers, but we don't really see a lot of what he is thinking about that and his kind of relationship to that after that shift happens. Granted, this kind of hostage situation was pretty crazy by then, so I get maybe he's not reflecting that much on that, but I mean, he had a lot of kind of downtime, so I did want to see at least a little bit of his thought process after that. And finally, the prose is just that. It's flat, it's functional, it's not particularly elevated or memorable, so if you're someone that's looking for that in a book, this is not going to have that. Now for a reader experience. I went into this pretty blind. I've never read Stephen King before, and I'm not really a thriller reader. So I was never really surprised. It was more kind of unsettled, and you're kind of like, what the F? A lot of parts in this book. I was never really scared. It's more just kind of this constant tension and anxiety that you feel. I also was pleasantly surprised by this kind of meta commentary and theme on authorship from Stephen King. Overall, I did enjoy the book. I just don't think that it was anything really crazy. I don't really have a lot of strong feelings about this book. Now, who's this for? If you like character-driven thrillers that focus on psychological tension and are really tight thematically and in scenery, this book is absolutely for you. But if you're looking for a thriller that just really has you absolutely terrified and really pushes a lot of different themes, and has really nice prose, this is not going to be for you. That's Misery by Stephen King. I think I'm going to do a 3.5. I still can't decide, a 3.5 or a 3.75. Again, I don't have a lot of strong feelings about this book, but I definitely enjoyed the read.